anything in the area of sex, like in all of the 9 areas of activity, that the white supremacists can think of to cause absolute chaos in the minds of black people, they are going to push it to the hilt. And in the area of sex, since sex is a very powerful motivating force, the second greatest motivating force among the people of the planet, next to white supremacy itself, the white supremacists naturally are going to cause a chaotic mind in all non-white people. That's their goal in the area of sex to the maximum. You know, it's always been chaos. We've never had the type of relationships in the area of sex, like in all other areas, economics, that we should have since the advent of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing close to it, and getting further and further away from it. But the white supremacists intend in 2018 to make sex, everything associated with sex, totally chaotic when it comes to the non-white people of this entire planet. I want to keep repeating that. The white supremacists intend to make everything totally chaotic, everything completely messed up, everything a total disaster when it comes to non-white people, black, brown, red, yellow, of this entire planet as fast as they can possibly do it, because they know that if they can mess up the minds, because it all starts with the mind, if they can mess up the minds, the bodies will follow of the non-white people when it comes to sex, then it will be much easier to control them in all the other areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, because sex, you know, everybody walks around thinking about sex. People who are not involved in sexual activity, or at least thinking about it, because they have to think about it because other people are thinking about it. I mean, I've given illustrations on this, you know, that everybody's familiar with. The little old lady down the street, that's not to, you know, say anything derogatory about her, but, you know, she probably no longer has a husband or a boyfriend and all like that, but she's still interested in sex, all right? Even if it just means pulling back the curtain and seeing who's going with who, you know, who's visiting who in the block, and sitting down at the dinner table talking about it. She's still interested in it. She's talking about what other people are doing sexually, because she's no longer having sex, but she used to, a whole bunch of it maybe, or maybe none of it. But it's all had an effect on her mind.
Yes, sir.
It affects everybody. Sex affects everybody, even when they pretend that it doesn't. What do you see now? All of the people now, when they run out of things in politics to talk about, they go after people talking about their sexual activity, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
That's correct. I mean, all the politicians and whatnot. I just heard about somebody associated in the Northwestern Hemisphere yesterday. I think it's somebody associated with law enforcement, the FBI or something.
Yeah, that was Mueller.
Somebody's saying something about his sex life.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we can't say nothing else about him, so, hey, find out something sexual about him. Find out what he does sexually, what he has done sexually,
yes,
what he was thinking about doing sexually.
Yeah, that was,
and try to, you know, and all of the entertainers and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's all about sex.
Mm-hmm.
Songs are about sex. Most romantic songs are about what? About sex.
Yes.
You know, male with female. And then, so the white supremacists, though, to get back to the point, they intend to make everything chaotic, totally chaotic, when it comes to the non-white people of this entire planet, when it comes to the area of sex, the 8th area of activity. I mean, see it. You see it all around you. You hear it. Yeah, I mean, it's being ramped up 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
They are carrying it over the top. I mean, they're trying to think of everything they can possibly do to cause as much, I mean, messed up, even not just mentally, but tampering with people's sex organs and whatnot, and, you know, saying you don't have, I mean, that phallus that you got, it's not supposed to be there. Somebody assigned you a phallus. I mean, you know, that phallus is, hey, and just like taking a person's arm off, I mean, yank that phallus out. When it comes to the black male, the white supremacists have always been fascinated by the white male phallus. That's why when they would lynch black males, they would sometimes do what? They would cut off its phallus and put it in what they call a mason jar and pour alcohol in there to preserve it and put it on a mantelpiece. There are recordings of this where people did this right here in the Northwestern Hemisphere just a few years ago. I mean, in the last century. They used to do it. Almost like, putting a deer's head up over the mantelpiece. They would take a mason jar with the black male phallus after they had lynched him, pour some alcohol in it to preserve that phallus, and then put that mason jar, there was a jar called a mason jar, glass jar, put it on the mantelpiece and show it to the little children. I mean, hey, that's the Negro, even though they didn't say Negro, they said the N-word. That's the Negro phallus. That's what we do to their sexuality. That's what